There are hundreds of basil varieties to choose from, and today we'll talk about some of the more unusual ones. Now, these basils I purchased in 4-inch pots from garden centers, and I just potted them up in these small pots for our TV show today. These pots are really not large enough for a basil plant. For a basil plant that's about 24 inches tall, you really should have at least a 12 to 15-inch pot. They need a lot of root room, so pay attention to the height of the basil and have a pot that's at least half the ultimate height of the basil in diameter. And they do like a fairly rich soil if you're going in containers. And some of the best for container gardens are the dwarf basils. Now, this spicy globe is one that's been around for a long time, and it's a nice little plant, although it does bloom a lot and you have to keep it cut back. It ends up being about the size of a basketball ultimately, and you can keep a nice rounded shape on it. A new variety that I really love is called Pistou, and it is a very compact variety with tiny leaves that are just amazingly flavorful. About 8 to 10 inches tall ultimately, and it has a nice rounded shape. This dwarf Greek basil tends to be columnar, about 18 inches tall, but it's a very narrow plant and has wonderful flavor. And then the Boxwood basil is another new cultivar that has very small leaves, not quite as aromatic as the Pistou, but a very attractive plant that can be easily shaped and kept compact and look very nice in containers. Now, there are a lot of beautiful basils that have either purple flowers or purple foliage, and one of my favorites of this variety category is the red Rubin. It's sort of a reddish purple. It's very tough and hardy. Tends to be about 20 to 24 inches tall in the garden. Has a really nice flavor and makes wonderful herbal vinegar and is great to make it with pestos. Very versatile plant. Another one that you'll find in the purple category is the purple Ruffles. This has wonderful ruffly leaves. It's a very attractive ornamental plant too. I love to pair it with zinnias and vinca and things like that. It's really nice with bright colors in the garden. It does appreciate a little bit of afternoon shade like many of the dark leafed basils, but just really a wonderful plant to grow as an ornamental as well. Another one that's really nice is the purple Persian. The leaves are somewhat variegated, green with purple stripes through them, and quite a dramatic plant and good flavor too. Thai basil is one of the most popular, also known as licorice basil. The flowers are long and purple and very dramatic. Now, one that I didn't have here that's worth looking for is called Siam Queen, and that one has really amazing circular flowers, just a wonderful plant. This is cinnamon basil, and it's getting pretty tall and starting to bloom. So to control those blooms, I'd go in and cut that plant about halfway back and cut all of that foliage down, and that way that plant's going to stay in leaf and not bloom too much. But these blooms actually are really nice to take indoors and use as cut flowers too. Now, some of the basils are really ornamental basils. The holy basil or sacred basil is used in religious ceremonies. I'm not a big fan of the flavor. It's very sweet and perfumey, but it's a really pretty plant. Blue spice is another. It's sort of a vanilla citrus smell, very similar to the holy basil, but not my favorite. And then African blue basil is a terrific one to grow as a landscape plant. Bees love it. Tends to be about 3 feet tall and wide and blooms all summer long. It's a sterile plant, so you don't have to keep the flowers cut off of it to keep it going. So try some of these new basils. You'll really enjoy them.